Hello, welcome to Spell Day. We're covering spell every single day of the year from the 5e PHB +3. Those Swesty spells are homebrew spells. We're at +2 at the moment. You can head back in the playlist to find them. And today's spell, would you do the honors, is Simulacrum.
I'm killing you. I'm killing you. I don't care about anything else. I don't give a shit about anything else. My programming is just get that fucking guy right now. It doesn't, there is no like, oh, he's running, I'll back off a little. No, it's just until I get you.
7th level illusion, cast time for 12 hours, range of touch, components verbal somatic material, snow or ice in quantities sufficient to made a life-size copy of the duplicated creature. Some hair, fingernail clippings, or other piece of that creature's body placed inside the snow or ice, and powdered ruby worth 1,500 gold pieces sprinkled over the duplicate and consumed by the spell. Duration, until dispelled. You shape an illusionary duplicate of one beast or humanoid that is within range for the entire casting time of the spell. The duplicate is a creature, partially real and formed from ice or snow, and it can take actions and otherwise be affected as a normal creature. It appears to be the same as the original, but it has half the creature's hit point maximum and is formed without any equipment. Otherwise, the illusion uses all the statistics of the creature it duplicates. Simulacrum is friendly to you and creatures you designate. It obeys your spoken commands, moving and acting in accordance with your wishes and acting on your turn in combat. The Simulacrum lacks the ability to learn or become more powerful, so it never increases its level or other abilities, nor can it regain expended spell slots. The Simulacrum is damaged. You can repair it in an alchemical laboratory using rare herbs and minerals worth 100 gold pieces per hit point it gains. The Simulacrum lasts until it drops to 0 hit points, at which it reverts to snow and melts instantly. If you cast this spell again, any currently active duplicates you created with this spell are instantly destroyed. Oh, I remember the... Oh boy. Okay. I remember the loophole now. First off, instantly melts when it loses all its hit points or is finally taken out, or you've cast the spell again. You kind of have Frosty... Is Frosty the Snowman a Simulacrum? A really poorly done one? How many rubies were in that hat? Where'd the human parts come from? Anywho, one thing that I had forgotten was you can cast this on other people. I thought this had to be... I remember I used it in the previous campaign where, yes, another caster cast it on someone else. But in my head, for some reason, in the background, I just kept thinking that it was a target of self, like you could duplicate yourself, which is still a good use for it. It's 150 gold pieces, kinda down the drain, debatably, but that's a second, even though half the hit points, that's a full caster of the level that you were able to cast this, 7th level. If you are doing it yourself, that is. And speaking of just getting it out of the way, the loophole. If you cast this spell again, any currently animated duplicates instantly dissipate. As in they melt into the snow and the spell ends for them. Which would be fine, but it says you. It says you in specific. And if you cast this on yourself, well, your Simulacrum knows how to cast Simulacrum. To be fair, it won't get its spell slot back, but don't worry, it just casts Simulacrum again. That Simulacrum has a 7th level spell, and you see where the problem goes. The only limit at that point is resources and snow and ice. And the 12 hours doesn't mess with this that much. This is a prep spell. Like, this is not an in-combat spell. It could be a combat spell, in the sense that, like a summoned creature or something, you're making this ahead of time so it can then go into a combat, which... I mean, when it comes to a spellcaster, yes, the spell slot is instantly expended, but 150 gold pieces, no, 1,500 gold piece ruby dust, and the casting of this, like a few days in advance, to have a duplicate, if you're just doing this once on yourself, to have a duplicate spellcaster that can cast 7th level and down, at least once each spell slot's worth. You can then just dissipate it and make another. Yes, 150 gold pieces down the drain, but it's a lot of spells. So speaking of losses, you can repair it, which is nice. So even if you do this on a barbarian or fighter, which a high-level barbarian or fighter with another duplicate of them is at least another target on the battlefield, but a quite potent one, if you stack your cards right. Because they do have all their abilities, and while it says spell slots don't come back, abilities do. Second Wind and Action Surge do. I mean, even if an NPC is not willing to help you, there's something that's going to work for you. So you can head to a knight or a dangerous noble or other really powerful wizard, have them willingly have Simulacrum cast on them, then you have a duplicate of that character you can bring with you. If this extremely powerful knight's not willing to leave his stewardship, this is a way around it. You'll still have that level don't know, 20-something NPC with you now. Well, duplicate under your thrall. If it's damaged, you can spend the gold pieces and rare herbs to repair it, which, oh man, 100 gold pieces per hit point, that is not a good trade. But being able to duplicate NPCs that aren't willing to actually come with you, but are willing for this to be cast on them, which is very debatable because this is a villain spell. I mean, come on. Either for making a duplicate of the villain, which could still have some of the dangerous and lethal potential of it, and not just an illusion of it somewhere else. I mean, this villain can still fight you if that goes wrong, and it just takes him a little bit of time. Compared to some other spells in preparation, 12 hours, and you sleep it off, and then you get the spell slot back, all you need is the gold pieces and the resources at that point. Because then the villain itself has 7th level spell slot, so unless you're doing the duplicate thing, which, that villain can teleport. It'll just teleport to the party. The villain just, every day, has a slightly weaker duplicate of itself go after the party. It will need a ruby mine somewhere, but they could pull it off. Well, that'd be an interesting one, like a Emperor's Champion or something, or like this noble warrior, this one grand adventurer that's level 20, this grand fighter or whatever, under this magocracy. He's retired now. He doesn't do much anymore. He keeps in shape, but that's about it, because all the mages of that magocracy do is they make duplicates of him with Simulacrum to act as the policing force and their army. I mean, I'd be terrified if there was a duplicate, even if it had half its health. A level 20 fighter being given the new arcane equipment by this magocracy, and it doesn't care if it dies. But you have to, the idea of having this, like, that's how a venture retires, is to be used for a simulacrum double, or the source of a simulacrum. Also a terrifying, terrifying possibility with the magocracy. A terrifying one. Oh, I forgot to say world building wise, but anyway, that's a fun point. But just being able to have someone really powerful, slightly limited, and by slightly it's not that bad. Sure, it can't train, but base abilities it gets back. Spell slots are the only thing it doesn't get back, and you can heal it without having healing magic. It just takes a lot of resources in an alchemical lab. Not to mention the fact that it's only half health, which, yes, really hurts at lower levels especially, but like that 20th level fighter example, you're still probably going to be well above 100. And depending on who you send that out against, it's not worried about dying. It's a simulacrum. The one downside, or not the one downside, but the big downside I can see is the fact, until dispelled. 1/3 level spell. If a target knows they're going up against a simulacrum, and they cast Dispel Magic, and it passes, it's gone. That level 20 fighter, the magical equipment you then gave off of it on its simulacrum, didn't matter. One action took it out. 1/3 level spell slot. From 120 feet away, by a level 5 spellcaster. That's where the trade gets hurt, and why this wouldn't be, unless you just had it, that level 20 fighter scenario, they're just willing to throw bodies upon bodies of simulacrum. And that villain scenario, consistently sending duplicates of himself. Once the players or the enemies catch on and have the ability to get Dispel Magic, that's all they're gonna use. The fight's done in one action. Not even a turn, one action. But you could also do this in more subtle ways. I mean, yes, if you have Dispel Magic available and this is a widely, public force, then it's gonna be dispelled. Or at least, there's going to be investments and attempts to dispel it. Ways you overcome that? Mass produce them so you don't care, oh yeah, you might be able to dispel that one level 20 fighter duplicate, but if we send 20 of them after you at the same time, that's going to be a bit more of a struggle. Though another thing, because again, not worried about dying, set this up on assassins, head deep in enemy territory, yeah, they know they're never coming out, but they don't care, they're simulacrums of a level 20 rogue from somewhere. A group of level 20. Because yes, well, the one caster can only have one simulacrum up at a time. Yes, there's a duplicate thing, we're not touching that. You can have just a group of spellcasters that can cast 7th level spells, set up multiple duplicates of that level 20 character. It only limits resources. And if the original, copied material dies. But you can also mimic a beast. You can have simulacrum of a T-Rex. How often are you going to come up to that, and how often are you going to have a T-Rex that's willing to stand still for 12 hours? I don't know, but it's possible if you can get a beast to stand still for this. A mount, a beast, a copy of an adventurer entirely immune to fear because, well, not immune to the effect of fear, but fear of death. Because they're just a copy, and they follow your commands. Biggest issue is just Dispel Magic. But no, duplicate cloned retired adventurers is a really, really fun concept. One final word to the duplicate scenario. this comes into the argument of spells as rules as intended or rules as written. Rules as written, yes, you can make as many duplicates as you want, at least just having a Simulacrum spend their first 7th level spell slot, and only, on another Simulacrum. Actually, they could then also cast 8th and 9th, if they're full level 18 and then multiply? Oh no. No, because then they can only make 1. Yeah, so you can't multiply and branch out in tree, but you could just duplicate, 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 and go on like that. Again, resources are still a limit, but... oh, that can be abused. Because, I don't know, something like 20 plus meteor swarms all hitting you at the same time is not a pleasant thought. Or disintegrates, or power word kill. Well, power word kill wouldn't multiply that well. 10 out of 10, even without the duplicates. It's 10 out of 10. Because getting it... it's one of those scenarios, similar to like Shape Change or some of the other target-based spells or what the subject is of the spell. It's entirely up to what you're making Simulacrum of, but it can be used for subterfuge, it can be used for those level 20 adventure copy death squads, it can be used for just duplicating yourself, having you present elsewhere, or just doubling your resources in the sense of casting spells. Yes, only one-time use, but 2 9th level... like, not even other spells. 2 9th level spells in the same day, within the same round, for just casting this the day before? That's not that bad. It really isn't. But no. Yeah, 10 out of 10. It's a good spell. Oh man, like, it really should be higher. If Clone is 8th level,